Hey, how's everyone doing today? This is Josh Noel from SonduckFilm, and I'm not hiding behind the computer once again. I'm in front of the camera, and we're going to talk about what it takes to visually make a great shot. I'm not going to be talking about how to make a great shot from a story perspective, but just from a visual aesthetic standpoint, what can you do to make a great shot? A lot of professionals talk about how important lighting is, and they're definitely correct. It's one of the most important aspects of producing a beautiful shot, but it's not the only thing. So in this video, we're not necessarily going to be focusing on lighting. We're going to be talking about all the other aspects that go into making a beautiful shot. So the first thing we're going to talk about is depth. To create depth, you need to pull your subject off the wall. In this case, we have our actress pulled off about 20 to 30 feet from the background over here. And if we would have shot the shot against the wall, it'd be a completely different shot. But when you create depth like this, when you can be able to show a lot of the background, you're able to see a lot of detail. It makes the shot a lot more interesting. And you see we have these nice bokeh, we have a lot of out of focus elements, and we're really able to show off the space, and we're creating a nice depth of field. In my last video, I talked about some mistakes that filmmakers make, and I talked about how important locations are to have nice visuals. So in this one, we're going to talk about the background and how the background can make your shot look really nice. So talking about background and location, we're able to showcase all these elements in the background behind our subject, and it looks nice for the shot. And if we take a look at another shot over here, so everything that's in your shot, what you're shooting, what the wardrobe is, and exactly what the environment and the space is like is going to determine if you're going to have a good shot or not visually. As you can see, we have a little bit of lines going on here. Of course, that doesn't always have to be intentional. In this case, it wasn't, but we do have this nice space. We have a little bit of interesting background elements. She has a nice shirt on that blends in with what's going on. Her skin tones is more of an orange teal going here. So it all matters what's in your shot, and it's not just lighting. It's a little bit more than just a few things. It's about what you're shooting. So another thing you can do to make your shot look visually nice is you can add a practical, which is basically a light that you can actually shoot on camera, like a lamp or a household light. Now, this isn't always going to work. You may not always be able to add a practical light into your shot. It might not make sense, but it does add a little bit of contrast into your shot. And it also gives your audience a point of reference to where the light's coming, and you can have a nice way to motivate your light with this practical. And this is a good example of how a practical can work. As you can see, the practical is right here, and the light is punching onto our face right here. And this is just a good example because this is a very contrasty scene, and we really needed that motivation of light. And we have a lot of dark information over here, and we have our brighter pixels over here that's really punching that up and making the shot a little bit more interesting. Without this practical, this would probably just be a dark shot, and that's not good. So this practical is doing a lot for our scene. And here's an example. We have a practical right here, which is motivating the light on our subject's face over here. And if we took the light away, this would just be a dark background, and there would be no motivation of light here. So we would just have to assume that the light's coming from somewhere off camera. But right here, we have a full motivation, and we're able to light up this space. And back here, it's darker, so we definitely have that contrast because of that practical, and it makes sense. So something you definitely need to think about is the focal length of your lens. Do you want to shoot something that's extremely wide, or do you want to shoot it compressed like with an 85mm lens? This is definitely going to affect your image based on what's in your shot. So if you're shooting compressed, you're going to definitely minimize the background and bring it closer. If you're shooting wide angle, you're going to get more of that background and more of that environment. And those choices are going to affect your image. So the last thing I want to talk about is color depth. I'm not necessarily talking about color grading, even though that's a huge part of your shot, and you have to definitely dial in a good color correction and grade to have a visually beautiful shot. But I'm talking about color depth in the sense of lighting. And this is a good example of lighting depth because we have this nice warm light on our subject's face. We have the midground, which is basically part of the background, but I'm gonna call it midground in this case. We have some blue light on the stools over here, and for the background, the final background, we have this nice red light shooting onto the wall. And this is creating a visually nice shot, in my opinion, just being able to mix colors and creating that color contrast and separating the image. Now, you're not gonna be able to do this in every scenario. I think it's only a very specific sort of style that you go after, like we're shooting in a bar in this case, and it made a lot of sense to create this mood. So that's what we did. You're not gonna be able to do this every single time, but creating color depth, if you can make a very nice shot. So these were just my approaches, how I go about producing a shot. Of course, even if you follow these tips, they might not even make sense for the story, and it might not even work out depending on where you're shooting, so just keep that in mind. And of course, let me know in the comments down below what type of videos you guys shoot, and we'll go ahead and produce more of these videos. So let me know what you guys want to see, and if you guys enjoyed this video, I really appreciate it. A thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this if you have not already, and please be sure to hit me up on my social media networks. Those links are in the description of this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a good day.